we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach out to the podcast or drop us a line or give us a critique or be a guest on the podcast, hit us up on our DMs at the Bigmark podcast or the Bigmark pod, on our X or on our Instagram DMs. Hit us up there. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have you on the podcast. I'd love to have hear your thoughts and ideas and everything like that. And if you ever wanted to support the podcast, just listening, thank you so much. You're supporting us by just having us playing right now. So thank you. But if you do want to support the podcast, again, hit that subscribe button, like it, share it with your friends, tell everyone. There's Patreon. There's different levels. You can hit us up there too. So all kinds of stuff. Patreon.com/BigmarkPod or YouTube or wherever you are. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Like I said, I always appreciate everyone's time and always appreciate everyone's support this way just by being here. But I've said before, if you tell one friend overnight, we'll double the podcast listenership. And make sure they're cool, because we get out there and wild on the Bigmark podcast sometimes, and we want cool people listening. Well, today's not all that wild, and actually it's probably wild enough. That's why we're a little late this week, and I'm sorry, everybody. But missed a day this week, but that's because I got thrown off by Labor Day, which is a holiday in North America that happens the first Monday in September, and usually the rest of the world in May, I think it sounds like, but Labor Day Classic. And on Labor Day weekend is the Labor Day Classic, which is actually across the CFL, so the Canadian Football League only has 9 teams. There's BC Lions, there's the Saskatchewan Roughriders, there's the Calgary Stampeders, there's the Edmonton Elks, used to be called the Edmonton Eskimos, dead naming. There's Hamilton Ticats, let's go. Toronto Argonauts, Argo suck. Montreal Alouettes, Ottawa Red Blacks, used to be the Rough Riders as well. There's 8 teams in the league. I said Montreal Alouettes. Oh my God, if I'm forgetting anything, someone's probably screaming. Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So there's 9 teams, and there's been two teams named the same. It's fucking wild. Anyway, so usually BC doesn't really have a rival, so they don't necessarily take part in this rivalry league. When Ottawa wasn't around, BC was a little bit more involved, but it's been happening since 1949. And it happens across the CFL. So the Labor Day Classic, or Classique de la Fête de Travail, is roughly 12 to 13 weeks in the season, when it's the first, it's the first Monday of September. It's one of the only other games that is played on a Monday, other than the Thanksgiving Day Classic, which is also played on Monday. And again, it's a rivalry week across the league, and all those teams, Montreal versus Ottawa, Winnipeg versus Saskatchewan, aka the Banjo Bowl, Calgary versus Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta. Again, BC gets a bye. And then Hamilton versus Toronto. Now, again, the history began in 1949. So this tradition started 9 years before the CFL was actually even a thing. And the matchups have basically remained the same, except for the years, like I mentioned, that the years that Ottawa didn't have a team, or Montreal. There were a couple years in the early 90s where Montreal didn't have a team. So again, they had to kind of mix it up, and BC started coming in. BC would play Montreal, and they would kind of call it, the coast to coast battle, which is silly because it's the old Quebec coast, eh? Montreal, I guess the coast of the fucking Saint Laurent. So again, like all these rivalries have been going on for all these years, and when I was doing this research, I always kind of thought it was just Hamilton versus Toronto. I never really thought about the other games that happened as actual rival teams, right? Like I was like, oh yeah, there's still games that go on, but each team has a rivalry. Because if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing Ticats regalia right now. I'm from Hamilton, Ticats, let's go, eat 'em raw, as they say, Oski wee wee. Hamilton Ticats is probably the team that I actually feel the most like. I feel like I'm a fan of the most. I actually kind of have some type of feeling and emotion invested into the team. It's my hometown team. When I used to play for the Hamilton Hurricanes, we were like really closely affiliated with the Cats. Like we played at Ivor Wynne was our home field, is the same field as the Ticats, and it's not like we did much with the Cats themselves. But again, just like as a kid growing up, going to the games, it's just like all those memories are there, right? So you can't help but be a fan, or at least I couldn't. And been to many games, watched many games. Again, usually I was at school for things. At least for most of my life, I was away at school, so you'd watch it away. But then since I've been home, again, been to a few. They've been a little bit all over the place. The years actually that I was in school, in 2011, which was my second year, Hamilton and Montreal played in the Labor Day Classic, which they dubbed the Labor Day Classic, which was a different one. But in 2013, which was would have been my third year, Hamilton played Toronto at Alumni Stadium at University of Guelph. So that was kind of funny because when I was at Western, our school was brought up as a possible option. So Hamilton Stadium for many, many years was Ivor Wynne Stadium. It was right in the heart of a northeast neighborhood in Hamilton, called Stipley or Stipley, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Stipley neighborhood. And it was there my whole life. I think they built it in the 70s or something. Then before that, there was a stadium there, I'm pretty sure, called Civic Stadium. So anyway, it's always been like the home of like the Hamilton Stadium. I mean, there was another one over at HAAA grounds, but that was like many, many years ago, and that eventually moved to where Ivor Wynne was. And then there was much debate and much, back and forth about where the new stadium was going to go when they were going to tear down Ivor Wynne. It got like it just got old and outdated. They probably could have revamped it, but it was just like, it was quite old. So they just demolished it and then built a new stadium. So they built Tim Hortons Field there, and that was part of the Pan Am games that were in Toronto and Hamilton and the area, the GTA. So they built this brand new stadium exactly where Ivor Wynne was. But during those years when they were building it, it took a few years to build. Hamilton was without a stadium, so they didn't know exactly where they were going to play. So they thought about, well, let's just play at a relatively local university. I mean, Western's pretty far out there. Even Guelph is decently far. I don't know why Mac Stadium isn't all that big, so I think that's probably why Mac couldn't accommodate them. Because Guelph and or Western could have been quickly retrofitted to fit way more people. Like, it would that would have been a nice thing. And I look back at it now, because as a player, when we were on the team, we were kind of like, fuck that. We don't want these guys up in our business, which was hilarious, because like, who the fuck? We don't know what the fuck. We probably could have learned a thing or two from these motherfucks. Anyway, what ended up happening is they ended up like, fixing up Guelph, and they also got like a sweet coach at the same time. So it's hard to say how much actually came from the partnership between Guelph and Hamilton Ticats, the Tiger Cats Association, so to speak. But they also got this like legit billionaire coach at the University of Guelph, and he was like feeding the team mad money too. So it was hard to say, but they did fix up the stadium. They did like expand it and put another side on it. So anyway, in 2013, the Labor Day Classic was played there. So that was the second time that Hamilton did not actually host the Labor Day Classic. Every year Hamilton hosts it. I couldn't find exactly why in my research. It seems like all the other rivalry games that go down are always at the one stadium too. So what are you going to do? So after they built Tim Hortons Field in 2016, they played at Tim Hortons Field alongside McMaster Marauders versus the U of T Varsity Blues in a doubleheader that actually had a concert series in between, which is pretty fun. I think like some country guys or something. I can't really remember. But it's pretty cool. Like Argos and Ticats rivalry actually goes back to 1873. So that's obviously way before the CFL started. And that was like when they were basically playing like rugby. It wasn't really actually like football. It was just like, ooh, we're going to play this kind of like smash 'em up war game, which is pretty fucking wild. 1873. Holy shit. So far, of course I'm focusing on the Ticats Toronto rivalry here because that's what I know. But so far, Ticats lead the series 37-15, and with one tie in the mixture there, which is interesting. And the longest winning streak so far has been seven Labor Day Classic wins in a row from 2014 to 2021, led by Hamilton. Toronto has won 3 in a row, but every once in a while, it seems like Toronto just wins one, and then Hamilton wins a shit ton, and then we go back and forth because Hamilton rules, man, and Argos fucking suck. But again, like I said, the years of going there and all the fun kind of excitement and just all the magic, if you will. I mean, it's really interesting how fun the city gets. It gets really hyped up. I mean, I think that's probably another reason why I like to support the Hamilton Ticats, is just because they are, they're fun. They're a fun team. Their fans are fun. Hamilton's a hard-nosed city, and it's the fandom, if you will. The fans of the Tiger Cats are pretty loyal. We stick around. Don't get me wrong, we don't usually mince words when we're talking about the team, and especially when they hit a rough patch, which they seem to have been in for the past few years. I mean, again, there's only 9 fucking teams, sometimes only 8 teams in the league, and Hamilton has neglected to win a Grey Cup title since 1999. And it's a little bit pathetic that a team can't win one title per decade. Even one title per 9 years isn't out of the realm. I mean, when there's like 40 teams or 30 whatever teams in the NFL, or however many there are, it's statistically improbable that, it's gonna go through every team, right? Like, it's just, that's so many teams, and statistics are so hard to even get like out of the middle of the pack sometimes. So a lot of those teams have gone without winning, and it's like, okay, but I guess Hamilton, 9 teams is enough to have a team kind of just piss around the middle of the fucking pack, which is where Hamilton has resided for the past few years. And any Ticats fans watching, you'll probably agree with me, or disagree, of course, but I think that there needs to be a coaching staff change up. Of course, that's always an easy thing to say. It's a little armchair sports fan, armchair quarterbacking to kind of try to make these calls from way outside, not knowing what's going on in the front office, not knowing what's going on with the player and the personnel and all that kind of stuff. There's so much politics and different reasons why teams succeed or don't succeed. But I truly believe they just need to have a brand new coaching staff in there, brand new mentality, and have a very experienced coach. I mean, it's always hard to say exactly what they need, but I think again, they just need to try something new, because it's been quite a few years with the Steinauer coaching staff, and they kept the same people on for a lot of years. I mean, my Mustang brother Craig Butler's on that squad, so hopefully they keep him around. Sorry, Craig, I don't mean anything against you, brother. Secondary is always great. I mean, that's the one thing, is that Hamilton has always had a hard-nosed defense, and I think that always helps. But our offensive prowess has kind of ebbed and flowed over the years. Honest to God, I think when they took Burris away from us, when Ottawa was created, and then our oh my God, what was our center's name at the time there, Mike? Anyway, great guy, but he was kind of forced into early retirement because when the Ottawa Red Blacks, Renegades, whatever you want to call them, when they first came back off their hiatus, the CFL allowed them to basically take the best two players from every team in the CFL to boost their roster again. So a little bit strange, but it kind of kept things exciting. But again, the Labor Day Classic is just one of those things where the whole city just kind of is buzzing and it's electric. And, the Arkells sing about it in the Ticats are humming their theme song about the Ticats. Christmas might as well come on Labor Day in Hamilton. And it's a fun time. There used to be huge tailgates, and I mean all the people parking on lawns and having parties on their front lawn. I mean, it's a day off for everybody. So there's just an excitement in the air, and there's something special about that, right? I mean, say what you will about professional sports. There's all kinds of it's fraught with all kinds of different issues and gambling, and some people are way too into it potentially. And a lot of people throw their lives away participating in the sport and get injured, and then they're done. There's a whole mess of things that I've brought up and can talk about ad nauseum. But if I want to talk about something good about sport, it's stuff like this. It does bring people together in a really special way. Even people that don't even fucking care about sports or care about football, they're going to be at that game. My parents just got back from Germany. Welcome home. So I was just hanging out with them during the game, or during the time the game was on. So I was unable to go to this year's game. But like I've said, been to plenty. This year, 2024, was really great. Hamilton won again because Ticats are fucking sick, like I've mentioned before. But again, like I said, it brings people together, and that's the power of sport, and that's pretty fun, and that's pretty cool. So thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully the Ticats win the next Labor Day Classic next year. But again, let me know what you think. Who's your team? Who's your rivalry? Reach out and let's talk about how bad the Argos suck. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace out. Oski wee wee, Oski wawa. Holy Mackinac. Ticats. Eat 'em raw. Peace.